Hello everyone, a very good morning to all. So in this video, we'll be discussing about oxo acids of sulfur. So for the oxo acids of sulfur, we have sulfur is always having tetrahedral geometry. That means the count of total number of bond pairs plus lone pair is 4. So it doesn't have more than 4 bonds, or we can say 4 groups around it. The groups can be either bond pairs or lone pairs. So number of hydrogens attached to sulfur through oxygens is always 2. So that means its basicity is always 2. Number of OH groups is going to be 2 always upon sulfur. So basicity of these acids, the oxo acids, is going to be 2. So there is no direct SH bond present. So the presence of SOH is always there, but sulfur to double bonded oxygen, in some cases it is not there, but in maximum of the cases S double bond O is also present. So let's get started. So the most important acid out of the oxo acids of sulfur is sulfuric acid, most important and most common one. So we have been reading about this sulfuric acid since our earlier classes. So the formula can be easily memorized, that is H2SO4. So what we'll do is we'll have sulfur in the center, we'll have 2 OH groups, and rest of the oxygens we count, there are 2 oxygens, so that will be bonded by double bonds each. So this is how the structure of sulfuric acid, 2 OH groups and 2 doubly bonded oxygens. So if we we want to know the oxidation state of sulfur. From here, the oxidation state comes out to be +6. And the anhydride, which can be known by just removing the water molecule, is SO3, we have mentioned here. So as I have mentioned earlier, that just by removing one oxygen, we can convert ic with the prefix sulfuric is ending with the prefix ic, suffix ic. So it can be converted to us, that is sulfurous, by removing just one oxygen. So here what we are doing is we're removing one oxygen. So here the oxygen which is going to be removed is going to be doubly bonded oxygen, because number of OH groups is fixed in case of oxo acids of sulfur, that is it will always remain 2. So the acid is going to become H2SO3. Again, we can calculate the oxidation state easily and the corresponding anhydride by removing just one water molecule. That means the anhydride is going to be SO2 and sulfur is going to be in +4 oxidation state. Now, if we add one oxygen, we'll have peroxosulfuric acid. So peroxide linkage will be adjusted to one of the OH groups. So here we are adding one oxygen in between the sulfur and OH group. So that will become peroxomonosulfuric acid. So these are the 3 acids. Now from the sulfuric acid, what we'll do is we'll generate pyrosulfuric acid, which can be generated by doubling the formula from the 2 units. What we are to do is we are to remove a water molecule by just heating. So we'll double the formula, we'll place 2 units adjacent to each other, and we'll remove one of the from one we'll remove one hydrogen, and from the other we'll remove one OH group. So this is how this pyrosulfuric acid or disulfuric acid, we can say, is generated. So the formula is going to become doubling the formula, double will be H4S2O8, and by removing water molecule we'll have H2S2O7, which is our pyrosulfuric acid, or we'll call it disulfuric acid, which is having sulfur in +6 oxidation state. And this is the structure with 2 OH groups in the solid and 4 double bonded oxygens and 1 bridging oxygen is there. So from sulfurous acid, if we remove one more oxygen, we get the prefix hypo with it. So that is hyposulfurous acid. Here doubly bonded oxygen is not there. So both the doubly bonded oxygens of the sulfuric acid has been removed in hyposulfurous acid, and here sulfur is in +2 oxidation state. Still the geometry is tetrahedral because there are 2 lone pairs present on this sulfur. Next we have now here we have written this the same acid, that is pyro or the disulfuric acid. Now we'll generate some other acids from this disulfuric acid. Now firstly we'll add one oxygen, we'll get peroxo disulfuric acid. Now this oxygen will be added at the bridging position in case of peroxo disulfuric acid. So this will give us peroxo disulfuric acid. We can easily have its anhydride by just removing one water molecule. From this disulfuric acid, this is our sulfuric acid, and if we remove one of the doubly bonded oxygens with doubly bonded sulfur, we'll get the prefix thio. Thiosulfuric acid is we are going to get. We have just replaced one of the doubly bonded oxygen with doubly bonded sulfur. Same is the case with the disulfuric acid. What we'll do is, in case of disulfuric acid, we'll remove one of the oxygen. We have direct sulfur-sulfur bond, and this acid is going to be called as dithionic acid. We have removed one of the oxygens. Now we have the direct sulfur-sulfur bond, which is called as dithionic acid. So from this dithionic acid, if we introduce in between these sulfurs, if we introduce n number of sulfur atoms and a long chain of sulfur atoms will be there, that will be called as polythionic acid. And if we'll remove one oxygen out of this dithionic acid, as the prefix of ic, the suffix of ic is going to get converted to us, that is sulfuric to sulfurous, here dithionic to dithionous by removing one oxygen. And one oxygen which is going to be removed here is going to be removed from each sulfur, not from the whole molecule, but two oxygens are going to be removed, one from each sulfur of dithionic acid. Then we'll get dithionous acid. So from all these oxo acids of sulfur, we can easily know the corresponding anhydride, we can know the oxidation states of sulfur, and we can know the basicity. Basicity is fixed for the oxo acids of sulfur, that is 2 always, because 2 OH groups are there. Now we'll be discussing all these oxo acids of sulfur one by one. First one is sulfurous acid. Formula is H2SO3. Oxidation state of sulfur is +4. It is dibasic. It is fairly strong acid. It can be prepared from its anhydride, that is sulfur dioxide. By treating it with water, we'll get sulfurous acid. Its acidic character has been shown here. It is a dibasic acid. Firstly, it will give us bisulfide, then it will give us sulfide. Now it is having reducing character. It is a strong reducing agent due to its strong affinity for oxygen. It wants to get oxidized and get converted to sulfuric acid. So it has strong affinity for oxygen and getting converted to sulfuric acid from sulfurous acid. Also, when it gets oxidized, it will reduce other moieties with the help of which it will get oxidized. So the other oxidizing agents which can be used are the halogens, which can be converted to hydroacids. The iodine can be converted to iodide. Ferric salts are going to be converted to ferrous salts, iodates to iodides. Potassium permanganate to manganese sulfate. Potassium dichromate can be converted to chromic sulfate, chromic salt. Also, it is used as oxidizing agent because it then it itself will get converted to sulfur. So this is its oxidizing action with H2S. It will convert H2S. The sulfide of H2S will get converted to sulfur. The PbO2 is going to get converted to lead sulfate. So this is the reducing its oxidizing character here. So next we have it can act as a bleaching agent actually. So it possesses a bleaching action due to its reducing properties. So it is having reducing properties, that is why it can act as a bleaching agent. So but the color is often restored, just like we one of the oxides of sulfur, where we exposed the nascent hydrogen was produced, and due to that the bleaching action was there. And whenever there was reaction with oxygen or air, due to aerial oxidation, the color is going to be restored. So same is the case here, that color is going to get restored due to the presence of air. Now coming to the structure, and for the knowledge of structure, one of the interesting fact came out when the ethyl derivative was synthesized out of this sulfurous acid. Its ethyl derivative was found to exist in 2 isomeric forms with different boiling points, that is symmetric diethyl sulfite and unsymmetrical diethyl sulfite. So symmetric diethyl sulfite would have been formed from this sulfurous acid, and unsymmetrical would have been formed from this sulfurous acid. So these are the two starting material for the generation of two kind of diethyl derivatives. So this justifies that this sulfurous acid exists in two forms, that is symmetrical one and unsymmetrical symmetrical one, which one of which explains the dibasic character. This one explains the dibasic character of this acid, and this unsymmetrical one explains its reducing character. So because of the presence of this SH bond, it is having its reducing properties, because SH bond will release hydrogen, which is going to reduce other reactants with which it is reacting. So the geometry is going to be tetrahedral, as it is SO3 2 negative. So sp3 hybridization is going to be there. So the structure is having two types, that is symmetrical and unsymmetrical form. Next one acid which we are going to discuss in detail is sulfuric acid. It is the most important. It is called as the king of chemicals, as sulfur is in +6 oxidation state. There are two important preparation processes, named processes, which are used for the synthesis of H2SO4. The earlier one which was used was the older one, is the lead chamber process, and the latest one is the contact process. So this lead chamber process is the older one. It is still followed because it is cheap. So in this, what happens is sulfur is taken, or iron pyrite, that is FeS2, is taken and roasted in the presence of oxygen, and we will get the formation of sulfur dioxide. This is the first step. And the first step of contact process is same. Both the first step for both the reactions is same, and the second step for the lead chamber process is sulfur dioxide is made to react with nitrogen dioxide. It gets converted to sulfur trioxide, and along with that nitrogen monoxide is formed. And the nitrogen monoxide which is formed, which takes up oxygen from the atmosphere, and it itself gets converted to nitrogen dioxide. So the role of nitrogen dioxide just is so it is again regenerated in its own way by reacting with by undergoing aerial oxidation. So we can see that this is just acting as a carrier of oxygen here. So in case of the contact process, in the second step, it is a catalytic oxidation of sulfur dioxide to sulfur trioxide using the catalyst V2O5. So it is a reversible exothermic process. Le-Chatelier's principle can be used to explain it. So here, with increasing the pressure, we'll get the forward reaction going in forward direction, and by decreasing the temperature, as it is exothermic, the reaction will get going into the forward direction. So but the pressure cannot be made too high, as corrosion of the chamber is going to start place. So this is the second step, is for the lead chamber process is cheap. That is why due to the second step, the lead chamber process is cheap in comparison to that of the contact process. So in the third step, as in the second step, we have got the generation of SO3. In the third step is again the same, that here sulfur trioxide is going to react with water to produce H2SO4. But in case of contact process, what happens is sulfur trioxide is made to react with sulfuric acid itself, and we'll get the formation of oleum, and from which further, by treating it with water, by diluting it with water, H2SO4 is generated. So this is all about lead chamber process and contact process. Now coming to the properties of sulfuric acid. Colorless, it is colorless viscous liquid. It freezes at 10.37 degrees Celsius and boils at 340 degrees Celsius. It is having strong affinity for water, so it is used as dehydrating agent, and its reaction with water is highly exothermic. So that is why whenever it comes to handling of sulfuric acid in lab, what we do is, whenever we want to dilute it, we do not add water to acid, we'll add acid to water. If we add water to acid, it is going to spurt out on our face, and will have strong burns on our face. So this is the point which is to be kept in mind. We never add water to acid, but whenever we want to dilute the acids, we'll add acid to water, so that there is large amount of water and acid is going into that dropwise or slowly. But if we add water into the acid, where acid is in large amount and water is going into it dropwise, so water is going to burn out, releasing a large amount of energy, and resulting in spurting out of the acid on our face. So this can lead to a major accident. So this is a major caution while diluting the acid, which is to be taken whenever we are handling the acids, and we want to dilute them in our laboratory for our laboratory experiments. So this sulfuric acid forms hydrates with water. H2SO4 dot, where one water molecule of crystallization is there, its melting point is 8.5. When two molecules of water of crystallization are there, it is 38 degrees Celsius. Now coming to the chemical properties, it undergoes dissociation. Generally, it is quite stable, but dissociates upon strong heating to its anhydride. It releases water and gets converted to sulfur trioxide, which is its anhydride. This here we have shown its acidic character. Firstly, we'll get the formation of bisulfate, then sulfate. Action with metals, it will release hydrogen gas. With metal oxides, it will react. This is the basic oxide, this is acid, and it will give us corresponding salts. With hydroxides, it will give us corresponding salts. With carbonates and bicarbonate, it is going to give us sulfates. With ammonia, which is again a base, we'll get the corresponding ammonium sulfate, and which is having dense white fumes. So this is the this can be used as test for this group. So dehydrating agent, it can be used as dehydrating agent because it has strong affinity for water, and it gets converted, it absorbs water, so it has strong affinity for water, so it can be used as dehydrating agent. It has corrosive action upon skin, as it can burn our skin because it is highly dehydrating, so it will absorb or extract out water from our skin. So it can be many gases are dried by passing over the H2SO4 path. Also, it can lead to charring of sugar. Whenever we may react sugar with H2SO4, it gets converted to carbon only, and black coloration is appear, that is called as charring of sugar, and water comes out. With formic acid, it gives carbon monoxide. This is the preparatory reaction for carbon monoxide. With oxalic acid, it will give us a mixture of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. And with ethanol, it will give us ethene. The concentrated acid, when reacted with metals, it exhibits its oxidizing action and itself gets reduced to sulfur dioxide. So with salts of other acids, it replaces other acids and forms its own salts like bisulfates. And as we have seen the reaction with carbonates, it was forming bisulfates. Also, it gives precipitation reaction with metals like barium and lead, whose sulfates are insoluble in water. So they precipitate out because of their high lattice energy. So they precipitate out, giving barium sulfate and lead sulfate. With sulfur trioxide, it forms a even more stronger acid than itself, that is oleum, which is also called as pyrosulfuric acid. So this is hot concentrated sulfuric acid is a very strong oxidizing agent. It can oxidize carbon to carbon dioxide, sulfur to sulfur dioxide, phosphorus to phosphoric acid, sulfide to sulfur, bromide ion to bromine. So, and itself undergo reduction to SO2. So coming to its uses, many applications are there. It is used in fertilizer industry, chemical industry, metallurgy, for pickling, and for explosives, for petroleum refining, storage batteries, lead accumulators. So these are many of some of its many uses. So it is used for drying of gases. If we look at its structure, it is a dibasic acid, meaning two hydrogen linked to oxygen, that is hydroxyl groups are there. So it has a single structure. When its ethyl derivatives was generated, so it gives us this kind of structure. So so only one organic derivative was obtained, which indicates only one kind of structure. Unlike sulfurous acid, which exhibited two structures, two derivatives. So it is having tetrahedral geometry with sp3 hybridization. It is having high boiling point and viscosity, suggesting it is suggesting its existence to be in the form of associated molecules. So the reason for association is hydrogen bonding. So it is highly hydrogen bonded. So next acid is our disulfuric acid, which is also called as oleum. So H2SO4, when SO3 gets dissolved in H2SO4, will get the formation of fuming sulfuric acid, which is also called as oleum, which is even stronger dehydrating agent than H2SO4. It is generated by removing one water molecule from the two molecules of sulfuric acid. Next, we have peroxomonosulfuric acid. These common names are important that you can be asked about the synthesis of Carros acid. Carros acid is peroxomonosulfuric acid, and peroxodisulfuric acid, it is having common name of Marshall's acid. So Marshall's acid can be prepared from the chloro derivative of this sulfuric acid. It can be prepared like this by treating it with H2O2 and two chloro derivatives of sulfuric acid. Will get the formation of this Marshall acid by removing two molecules of HCl here. So we can interconvert these acids like Marshall's acid will react with absorbed water, it will give us Carros acid, which will further react with H2SO4 will get Carros acid and H2SO4. So Carros acid further absorb water will give us sulfuric acid and H2O2. So this is the interconversion reaction for these three acids, which is very important. And the other acid which is important common name is oleum. So these four acids are to be memorized. They structure their common names and their chemical names. So next we come to the acids of oxo acids of selenium. Not much is there about the oxo acids of selenium or other higher element. Just a reference we can see. So here this is selenous acid, which upon oxidation will give us selenic acid. So this is strong acid just like H2SO4. So this selenous acid can be prepared from the hydration of its anhydride. Similarly, for tellurium, we have tellurous acid. So TeO2 is soluble in water, so is insoluble in water, so cannot be prepared from it. But it is prepared from the tetrahalide of tellurium. So this acid is prepared from the tetrahalide of tellurium, and this telluric acid is very much different from the other members oxo acids of this group which ends with the prefix IC, that is IC. So this is having the formula H6TeO6, where this exists as TeOH6, which is octahedral molecule. So this is different from sulfuric and selenic acid. So it can be prepared by reacting tellurium with chloric acid. We'll get the formation of this telluric acid, which is a strong oxidizing agent but a weak dibasic acid. So next we have halides of group 16. So that is it for the oxo acids of group 16. So out of the oxo acids, the most important is the sulfuric acid, its preparation, the lead chamber process, the contact process, and these four common names. These acids are important from the these generally can be asked under 1 mark category. The common name: Marshall's acid, Carros acid, sulfuric acid, Carros acid, and the last one is oleum. And their synthesis is important. Their oxidation states of the sulfur can be asked. The structures can be asked. Their preparation methods can be asked. So these are the questions which can be there in exams out of this part. So yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day.